Greeting fellow hunters, HK here from the Phantom Brawlers, and in this video we'll be going through KO and exhaust damage. Today I'm joined by the guild's official speedrunner, Lazy.
Hello everyone, I am Lazy. I am a speedrunner in the Phantom Brawlers guild, as introduced by HK. I will be covering KO damage today, and HK will be covering exhaust damage, and as we are covering this, I've prepared a few clips of gameplay for while I speak. HK will begin with the explanation of exhaust damage, what it is, where it comes from, and then I will move on to KO afterwards.
The reason we're looking at both KO and exhaust damage is because they go hand in hand. All exhaust damage can do KO damage, and equally all KO damage does exhaust damage. The main difference between the two in this respect is that KO only applies when hitting the head of a monster, whereas exhaust damage will apply no matter where on the monster you hit. Let's begin with exhaust damage. It works a little bit differently to other status conditions, as once you hit the monster's initial threshold, it doesn't exhaust the monster immediately. What happens when you reach its initial threshold is you induce an exhaust flinch, which will take a large chunk of the monster's stamina off. When a monster's stamina reaches 0, it will enter a fatigue or exhausted state, where it tends to drool, fail to use attacks with elements, and even some attacks without elements, moves slower, and sometimes it just stands there. It also lasts longer in traps and flash bombs. It may try to eat something to regain some of its stamina, so don't let it get away. Exhaust damage comes from impact attacks, such as those from the hunting horn or the hammer, or the sword and shield bash attacks, as well as the exhaust files from switch axes, exhaust shots, and the arrow rain from bow. However, when it comes to the consistency of the exhaust damage, hunting horn is the best. As an additional side note to this, monsters' stamina also gets used up when they attack, when they're flinched, when they're flashed out of the sky, if you break apart, or if you sever its tail. Some slinger ammo such as stones and red pits can also cause exhaust damage. Exhaust has thresholds like any other status condition, and it becomes more difficult to apply as the hunt continues. Also, due to it being harder to inflict than anything else, it's very unlikely to get a monster exhausted more than once, and certain monsters are immune to exhaust, usually elder dragons. To top this off, there's a skill called Stamina Thief, which at level 1, 2 and 3 increase your exhaust damage by 10, 20 and 30% respectively. The skill does come in a decoration, but in my opinion, the skill's not of any significance important, and it should not be focused on.
The second status we are covering today is KO. Knockout damage is applied by impact attacks, sticky ammo, heavy bowguns, wyvern snipe, explosions, exhaust ammo, and attacks while using the impact mantle. This mantle is unlocked after completing Showdown, the Muck, and the Maul, which can be received from the armory after defeating 5 unique Tier 1 tempered monsters. This tier includes monsters such as Puke, Rathian, Anjanath, Tobi Kadachi, Radoban, Baroth, and Paolumu. As with exhaust, some slinger ammo, such as stones and red pits, can knock out a monster. KO is unlike other statuses, however, in that knockout damage can only be applied to a monster's face. Every monster has its own specific tolerance, and like other statuses, KO threshold will increase after a successful KO. When a monster is knocked out, it will become dizzy and fall to the ground, stars spinning over its head. As an example, Rathian has a KO tolerance of 150. This means you must apply 150 KO damage before the knockout will occur. Take care to continue hitting the head as much as you can, because KO damage will be recovered as the hunt continues without a knockout. A couple of useful skills for knockouts are Slugger, which at level 3 adds 30% extra KO damage, and Punish Draw, which adds KO to your draw attacks. In previous Monster Hunter titles, Slugger was known as KO King, and was only a pitiful 10% increase to KO damage, which made no effective difference at all. Slugger in Monster Hunter World is now a skill worth considering for any multiplayer hammer build, as there is an approximate 2.6 times increase to all status tolerances for multiplayer, and knockouts become significantly more difficult to achieve and occur far less often. As for Punish Draw, it has lost some of its viability in Monster Hunter World compared to previous games, mostly due to the onset of the Impact Mantle and Greatsword both gaining a shoulder check and to deal knockout damage, and having the most motion value weighted into its true strong charge. KO damage is a very important status, and I hope you will consider picking up some means to use it, because it's a lot of fun.
That's all for today's video. If you're interested to know more, such as monster tolerances to KO and exhaust, or even weapons values for KO and exhaust, then come join our guild, where we're finding out all of them. The link to our Discord server is in the description down below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if there's anything else you'd like to see us focus on in the future, let us know. But until then, we'll see you in the new world.